Intertalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are wildly tuned in to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host, and a man who likes a short skirt, long jacket combo, just like cake. That's what I'm saying. And with me is my partner in technology, making it all work at Intertalk Central over in lovely San Diego, California, Paul B. How's it going, Paul?
Pretty good.
Good day over at the studio today?
Yeah, a little hectic and kind of foggy, but trucking along.
Trucking along, man. Excellent. Well, good. If you out there in Radio Land have a burning marketing question for me, and there are no other kinds than burning marketing questions, honestly, then you can email me at scott@robertsoncom2ms.com, and I will answer anything right on the show. I'll find some way to weave it into what we're generally talking about. And you can find my posts, my client news clips, stuff we're generating, and other tidbits over at the RobertsonCom Facebook page. Or you can follow us on Twitter at RobertsonCom, again, 2 N's, 2 M's. Just reach out and connect with us. Hopefully we can entertain you and give you a few tips and all that kind of fun stuff. So welcome to episode 42. Wanted to talk to had a lot of conversations this week about social media. And, I did a show sometime last year about social media, but I thought it would be good to revisit it and dive into some better depth about social media because there are just a lot of questions about what does it mean today? What is permissible today? What should you do? What shouldn't you do? That kind of thing. And, so I entitled this episode, What Really Works, Social Media Edition. It is definitely true that here in the social media world, you can own all of your own media channels for the brand, with absolutely no experience on how to actually run a media channel or be part of a media company. You can have one and you can blast out your marketing messages to a whole bunch of people for what it seems like is free, but you shouldn't. Social media is an important part of every communication strategy. But as I tell my clients, just like a gun, you need to know how to use it before you pull the trigger because it can have some repercussions back to you that may not be something that you want to deal with. So in this episode, we're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about the role that it plays in the strategy. And we're going to talk about and dig into some specifics on the big ones. We're going to talk about Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, maybe Pinterest, maybe Snapchat. Who the heck knows where it's going to go from here? So we're going to have a little Mr. Toad's wild ride of, down the information superhighway in social media and dig right on into it. So buckle up and let's have some fun and maybe bust some myths out there too. So social media, what is it, first of all? We all seem to have, a general idea, and it's usually related to our own experience with social media. But just, it's sort of defined as a computer-mediated technologies, plural, that allows the creation and sharing of information and ideas, career interests, other forms of expression via virtual communities and networks. There's a variety of standalone and built-in social media services, and that introduces challenges of definition. But basically, what I tell people, this is the first thing you need to know about social media is that it is a custom-made world that is unique to a user. A lot of people, it's very easy for us to think that when people log into a Facebook feed, they see the exact same thing. They do not. If you log into my Facebook feed, you see a lot of different things. I follow a lot of news outlets. I follow a lot of technology and music related outlets. There could be people that, knit for a living, and they're following the latest in yarn prices and the yarn groups, which, by the way, sounds like a barn burner. I'm excited, but they're as unique and individual as we are. And one of the common fallacies that you can have is that everybody sees the same thing all the time. They do not. These networks are unique to the individual. When you sit in a position where you manage the social media feeds of various brands, you really can see this. But most individual users it's very easy to make the jump and think that everybody's kind of seeing the same thing on Facebook. You don't want to make that mistake. You want to make sure that you understand that these are individual networks about individual needs, and they are created entirely. It's kind of the ultimate expression of our self-centered, self-centricness, that we have, because we've actually are able to create a world where we control everything. We control exactly who's in it, exactly what brands are allowed in it. We populate everything, and we share things, about ourselves with the groups that we bring in and that kind of thing. So notice I didn't say anything about it's a community designed to sell you stuff, right? Really important. Nobody asked you to be there. And if they do ask you to be there by liking your brand, then you need to guard that invitation very, very carefully. And I don't think enough brands do. I don't think enough brands have reverence and empathy for what their role is in an individual's social media feed. And I think that can be a real problem. I was looking at there's a firm that does social media, and I was looking into their capabilities, and it paints this picture that social media, that people are just out there waiting to hear your message, and you can grow your business and do all these fantastic things, and people will just line up for you. And why do you have to work with the media anymore? Because you can just be the media and you can just own this whole channel, and isn't it great? That is a smoke-filled rainbow and unicorns fantasy if I've ever heard it in my entire life. There isn't an ounce of that lines up with planet Earth, and you should know that. You need to know the fact that, don't be fooled into believing that your message is wanted or asked for in somebody's social feed. Really, the honest to God truth about a social feed is that people have invented them so they can talk about themselves and have other people talk about them. And I know, people say, "Oh, Scott, that's a really negative, narrow-minded view." That is a psychological view. That is an understanding of how the human brain works. We are self-centered creatures. All humans are. That old lady that donates and works at and for the homeless shelter down at your church, she is too. She has the same brain. She has the same hardware, the same software. This isn't a question of character or morals and who's a better person. This is a question of how the human mind actually works. We are designed to be self-centered creatures. It is not your fault. Your software says that about you. Social media is the ultimate embodiment of that, because you ever see people who post on Facebook, "I just want to see how many people read this thing and read this and talk about how you know me and the first time that you met me and answer one word about how you met me. We're all about me. We're all about, hey, it's my birthday. Love me. Hey, it's my, hey, my kids did this. Aren't they cute? Hey, I voted for so-and-so. Aren't I smart? It's all about that. And the sooner that you take a big, deep cleansing breath and realize that, the better you're going to be at social media. You need to understand that it is about me. It is about me. And therefore, if it's about me, then it's not about you unless you make it about me. Okay? You understand? You must be able to do this. This is the magic trick of social media in a nutshell. And I know so many brands that are unwilling and uncomfortable to make things about the person because we're much more comfortable talking about ourselves. And that's why their brand is, it's safe for us. We can talk about ourselves all day long. But the minute that you have to make it about somebody else, it is a bit more discomfort. And again, ironically, that's the way that you're going to make things, that's the way things are going to work out better for you. So anyway, like I said, let's talk about what really works. First of all, and I just want to say this from a business perspective. If you're looking at this to do for your business, from a personal standpoint, you can do whatever it is that you want, and it's your world, it's your people. Enjoy, do your thing. From a business perspective, you need to have a brand platform. You need to know, my clients, that means you have a message map. You know what the emotion is that we're going after. We know what our storytelling topics are going to be. We have done some really good thinking about the brand, and we have a plan. We know how we're differentiated. We know how we're going to execute our plan, those kind of things. With all that in mind, you've got a plan. Here's some things that I know that really work well, the kinds of things that really work well, and given various social media networks. Facebook. Let's start with the biggest. Facebook is the biggest. Certainly, obviously one of the first and still the biggest. The thing that works in Facebook really, really well are not sponsored posts. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see that. Somebody might accidentally click on that kind of thing. That doesn't work. Ads, no, those don't work. Now, in my experience, they don't work. Somebody else might say, "Hey, I really got them to work," and that kind of thing. But I haven't seen them work, and that's what I'm saying. So, anyway, what does work on Facebook? Getting the friends and fans of the brand to share things about the brand. Positive things. Hey, I just let's say it's a guitar manufacturer. Hey, they go on their feed and they say, "I just got this brand new guitar." Let's say it's one of my good friends is a luthier, Ernie Lombardo. This is an Ernie Lombardo original, isn't it cool? And then they're talking all about how great the guitar is. Then all their friends go in, because they saw it and they're drooling about the guitar too, and they say, "Wow, what a great guitar! What a great finish! How's it sound? What this kind of thing, all kinds of good things about the guitar, right?" But really, they're just responding to you because they're your friend, and that's what friends do. That works really, really well for the brand, especially if you're listening and you know how to pick that up and put that in the brand feed. Let's say you've got a search running for your Ernie Lombardo guitars. You've got a search running when anybody invokes the name of your brand. You see that post. You're able to maybe grab that post. You're maybe able to share that to the timeline, or you're able to go directly back to that owner of the guitar and say, "Hey, would you mind sharing that to the, to our page," or changing the permissions so that sometimes people's permissions are set to where you can't do that, but set it to where you can do that, and then you can share it. Also a good place to put your content, but your content had better be great. It better be informative. It better be novel. It better be something special, is what I'll say, because there's a lot of stuff on Facebook, and it certainly needs to be really dialed back, a very subtle sales message, if any sales message at all. It's much more about introducing people to what you're doing and that sort of thing. So very, very important. So that's Facebook. Twitter, great place to share your news, great place to share what's going on with you and with your company, with your company's news. Also a great place that you can put your blog posts, make sure they're great blog posts, and useful content to your audience. So if you're following people and you think that tweet could particularly benefit your audience, then yeah, you're kind of a curator, so you can grab that. Maybe you retweet that to your audience. You get credit for introducing them to something cool. Everybody wins, that kind of thing. Twitter is generally shorter. It's generally, its origin was in the 140 character limit kind of space, and it still tends to be that. If you're the president of the United States, you use Twitter quite a bit in all sorts of interesting ways. Not in ways that any communications person would recommend or sanction, but what are you going to do? President of the United States. So there you go. That is an interesting Twitter feed. As I say a lot of times on the show, there's a lot that's communicated in that Twitter feed there. So we got to move along here, don't we? YouTube. If you're obviously YouTube's about videos. You got to think about, do we have something that is particularly visual? Do we have something on video that really can be shared? What can we show people that is really great, that is really unique? Can we show people, and also if we have a YouTube channel, what other videos can we curate around and put on our channel to where our channel is going to be of use to people? Make it about that. It's always about that, how do we make this useful to people? And, thus we're a resource that's going to be considered for things. On LinkedIn, make sure, great place to share news, great place to share your original post published in that platform. Again, useful, non-salesy stuff, infographics, definitely more B2B in nature. If that fits your target audience, then you're going to be in good shape on LinkedIn. Let's talk about Instagram, because Instagram is really making news. I'm going to talk about it a little bit in the winning and losing segment too, so I'm not going to spend that much time on it here. But Instagram is about photo moments that really can tell and contribute to brand stories. On the brand side of things, it's about stories that give people a little bit of something extra behind the scenes of what's going on with the brand. And again, no real annoying words to get in the way. This is about photos. Photos. Now they have Instagram albums and Instagram stories and that kind of thing. And we're going to talk about that versus Snapchat in the winning and losing segment. But that's kind of an interesting development that's happening over there. And the last thing that I do want to talk about was Pinterest. Pinterest, depending on your business, it's basically digital boards that are filled with images, short videos, infographics, inspirational quotes. There's lots of cool stuff on Pinterest. Again, Pinterest, not necessarily your photos, from your camera in your moment, like Instagram is, like capturing your moments and that kind of thing, from like if you had like a body camera on and that sort of thing, and what people could see if they saw what you saw. Pinterest is more about cool visuals that you think can kind of inspire people to action. It's really, really great for fashion brands. It's really, really great in it can be really great for a lot of brands, because we love to look at stuff. We love to look and browse and see all kinds of interesting images and very short videos and infographics and that sort of thing. So that's just a quick, my quick list of things that I certainly have seen work well, types of content that works well in various social networks. We're talking all about what's really working in social media in this episode. So come on back in segment 2. We're going to dig into winning and losing. And I think I actually have more winners than losers this week, so it's historic. So come on back. We're going to have some fun on May the Best Brand Win and on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are tuned right back to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host, and still hanging out talking about what's working in social media. Paul, what's working down in the studio today?
It's all about me. That's all I can say. It's me.
You're learning. You're learning. Yeah, I like it.
You're like a Zen master of this stuff. It's like kind of pointing out the stuff that should be obvious, but but it's so simple that it eludes everyone.
It does. You're exactly right. None of this stuff is super complicated. It requires a little bit of thought, the right perspective, that kind of thing. Well, good. Without further ado, let's dive into who's winning and losing. So, I wanted to get to the story first. Let's talk about. I saw a story today about Instagram. The headline is Instagram killing Snapchat? And then they said, we asked the people who, it's from NewYorkMagazine.com, by the way, is Instagram killing Snapchat? We asked the only people who really matter, teenagers. So that caught my attention. I wanted to see it. So Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, right? Announced the rollout of Instagram stories in this past summer. The company basically said that they pretty much just carbon copied Snapchat in functionality. In fact, Snapchat features called Snapchat Stories, and Instagram is called Instagram Stories. So yeah, there you have it. That's a pretty good copycat right there. So apparently, Instagram is growing at a great pace. For a while there, nothing was growing like Snapchat was, but Instagram is really growing big time right now. And a large part due to the Instagram Stories feature. So, do you want to hear what the teens had to say? Just so I can say, I'm going to put Instagram in the winning category because of the fact that they're growing, because of the fact that they are. I guess they're killing their competitor, Snapchat. So there you have it. But I will say that the teens basically say that they use Snapchat Stories way more, said Jillian, a high school senior from Oregon. She said, I think I've only used Instagram Stories maybe 4 or 5 times. Jenna, a 19-year-old from Texas, estimated that she posts a Snapchat story almost every day compared to maybe a few times a month for an Instagram story. And of course, I'm going to bet money that those stories are mostly about Jenna, mostly about Jenna and what's going on in Jenna's world. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with Jenna. She's just being a human being. That's exactly what happens with the people. So to put kind of a lid on this story, what you should know as a marketer out there in the world is the fact that Instagram is growing faster than Snapchat. Instagram stole Snapchat's main feature and sort of brought it into its feature set, and now they're killing Snapchat. There you go. So I guess it's not a positive story for Snapchat, but we'll go ahead and throw it in the winning category. Anywho, on our social media themed story, I wanted to mention that I think Facebook is winning because they just released a new feature, a small feature in the land of software coding, but they have weather reports now. So basically, Facebook has now started offering weather greetings, and now it's rolling out a fully fledged, weather app on both its desktop and mobile, which is pretty cool. I mean, most of us have a weather app we could check ourselves, but if you're already on Facebook, why not bring it in there? I think it's pretty smart. It's a way for Facebook to look at and say what other things are. Facebook's not going to be happy until you're 100% just on their app and they have you just 100% of the time. And they have, crazy engagement numbers of people, that just spend hours and hours and hours on Facebook, especially the mobile app. doing nothing than watching people comment on their various, threads here and there. But now they have the weather, so I want to say winning. I'm going to throw that in winning. Also in Facebook news, and this is sort of in the losing category, virtual reality seems to be in a bit of trouble. There was a news story that came out this week that showed that Facebook was closing hundreds of Oculus Rift demo stations at Best Buys. So this is kind of weird, right? Because, virtual reality, unless you've been like some of us and you've gone to E3 and you've worn the headsets that everybody else has worn and like washed them off carefully before you put them on your head. Most people are like, you've got to try virtual reality before you can really understand the potential. So Facebook is having a hard time getting people to try in-store demos of Oculus Rift VR headsets. And Facebook is closing 200 of its 500 pop-up Oculus Rift demo locations across the United States due to quote-unquote seasonal changes. The quote was magical. We're making some seasonal changes and prioritizing demos at hundreds of Best Buy locations in larger markets, an Oculus spokesperson confirmed to CNET. But according to Business Insider sources, seasonal changes may be a bit of a euphemism. According to multiple anonymous workers at Best Buy, who allegedly spoke to the publication, it was common for the Oculus Rift pop-up stores to go days without giving a single demo. Seems like there's a lack of interest from the public. There's also some software bugs, and a third, that Best Buy maybe wasn't pushing people hard enough to try the demos. But I think you got to put virtual reality a little bit in the losing column in the fact that they're having trouble getting people to try these out in store, and they'll have to work hard to solve that problem in the future. So some good news for Facebook, some bad news for Facebook, some good news for Instagram/Facebook. It's all been about Facebook so far, hasn't it? Well, let's move to another thing. So in the losing category, Barilla pasta, Barilla pasta, very popular brand, kind of a blue package with a red Barilla pasta logo. Well, they're being boycotted because they're the world's leading pasta maker after its chairman said that he would never feature a gay couple in his advertisements. And then he sort of doubled down on that, and he basically said, his name's Guido Barilla, there you go, whose company owns almost half the Italian pasta market and a quarter of the market in the U.S. And that's got to be a pretty big market. Said on Italian radio, I would never do an advertisement with a homosexual family. If the gays don't like it, they can go eat another brand. So not good, not what you want to say, Guido, my man, not what you want to say. Not sure why you would say that. Not certain what the upside of saying that on a radio broadcast would be. May need to review, PR people get a lot of, crap from people basically saying that why do you always have these talking points for radio interviews? One of the biggest reasons that we have talking points for radio broadcast interviews is so our CEO doesn't say, I would never do an advertisement with a homosexual family. If the gays don't like it, they can go eat another brand. That is not good. That causes boycotts. That causes people looking at you and going, there's no need for it. There's no... even if you're asked the question, there are ways to answer the question with some sensitivity and not sounding like that. So we got to put them firmly in the losing category. And again, honestly, I'm just going to, there's nothing but bad news in this story, but if there is a positive spin, it is pay attention to your talking points for your radio broadcasts. Do some media training. Media training is a real thing. Folks in public relations spend a lot of hours grilling our spokespeople for companies to deal with any type of question so that you can handle it and not say anything dumb that's going to burn the whole brand down to the ground. It's going to be like, I was looking for a pasta metaphor for that, but you went from a nice, strong, sturdy noodle to like a very limp noodle. That didn't sound good. That didn't sound good. I was sitting here.
I was sitting here trying to concoct some sort of a joke like that too, but you beat me to it.
I don't know. We got to move off this story. Anyway, that's losing. That's losing. That's losing. And CEOs out there, don't ever go on the radio and say stupid stuff. You know, can I just speak to you for a second? Practice. Get your PR people. Practice. If you're used to saying stupid stuff in private, don't go on the radio. Get another spokesperson to do things like that for you. This will cost you money. This will cost you millions and millions of dollars and a lot of pain in the butt, honest to God. So it is absolutely not worth it, no matter what stance you're going for there. There's way more downside than there's upside. So no. Anyway, there you go. Can we talk about flaming Cheetos for a moment? I mean, when can't you, honestly? But let's talk. So this week in your world, a Burbank man sold a Harambe the Gorilla-shaped flaming Cheeto for nearly $100,000 on eBay. Now, we got to put this in the winning category, because if you found a flaming hot Cheeto that looked like Harambe the Gorilla, and then you were able to sell that for $100,000 on eBay, you are one of the smartest marketers I've ever met in my entire life. That is awesome, by the way. And it's a weird story. I get it. You know, by the way, you should definitely Google the story. Just look for Harambe the Gorilla-shaped flaming Cheeto. And the Cheeto, you know, I'm looking at a picture of it right now. It looks like Harambe the Gorilla. There's even, you know, they have a nice picture of Harambe the Gorilla next to it. It's very, very close to Harambe the Gorilla. It's in Cheeto form. I can
confirm. I just looked it up too. It's spitting image. $100,000 for Harambe the Gorilla-shaped flaming Cheeto, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. That is what happened. Got to say that's winning. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to look at it than that. Well. So we got a few more on the big bad agenda. Here's one. The Grammys. The Grammys a while back announced that they were going to start giving awards to music educators in the country, and every year they give away an outstanding music teacher award, which I think is great. The Grammy and certainly the Grammy Foundation were big partners of NAMM and the National Association for Music Education. Are certainly the groups that are out there that are trying to, you know, be cheerleaders for these very, very important music educators out there. Well, the person that won the Grammy Music Educator Award this year lives right here in South Orange County. Keith Hancock, or as they call him, Mr. H, was selected as the Grammy Music Educator of the Year for 2017. It was announced this past week. CBS this morning did the news. And he's a choir teacher at Tesoro High School. And he's been there since 2002. That's really, really cool for it's really, really cool for the teacher. It's really, really cool for the program. It's really, really cool for the Grammys to acknowledge that, you know, the path to these ultimate honors in professional music, you know, begins in choir class. Really, really smart. Really, really good. It's all kinds of winning all over the place. The news has definitely been shared. The school shared it. A lot of news outlets, here in the Orange County area, jumped on it, jumped all over it. NAMM shared it. I saw a few other music education newsletters that shared it. And then they're going to feature this guy also in the, in the latest, or in the Grammys this weekend. The Grammys take place on Sunday, and he'll come out and be featured in some kind of cool way. So that's a really neat thing to do for music educators, and just a really good. You talk about telling your story, and people who couldn't care less about artists and their records and those kind of things. They stop and they pause for a second when they realize that music education benefits all kids who encounter it in the school system. It's a great reminder that these programs are critically important for all kids, because it helps them do better in school, helps them stay in school. It helps them go on to whatever they're going to do later in life. They're going to do it better because they encountered music. I mean, there isn't a single one of us out here that plays music in any capacity that doesn't owe, a debt of gratitude to the teachers who kind of kept us on the path, somewhere along the line. So I think that's a really good one. So also in the winning category, the Lego Batman movie comes out tonight.
They have had such really good content around it. But the best that I've seen was they had Will Arnett, who does the Lego Batman voice and does it so well. The Lego Batman movie comes out, and Arnett basically was doing an interview, and you owe it to yourself to see this. He does a prank call to a toy store in England. He's on a British talk show, promoting the Lego Batman movie. And the twist is that Arnett had to do a prank call using the Lego Batman voice. And then the twist was he had to start every sentence in the conversation with the next letter of the alphabet, which makes the whole talk much more challenging. And man, so A to Z, he has to have that many sentences, and each one has to start, and they all have to kind of make sense in a conversation so the person doesn't hang up on him. And Will Arnett, who, very talented comedian, obviously, in so many various things throughout his career, and so great as Lego Batman, of course. But you have to watch this, because on the spot, without any, help or anything else, he basically hammers this out, and it's hysterical. The fact that, you're kind of in on the joke, and the person on the other line doesn't have it, just thinks it's a normal conversation, and doesn't realize that every letter of every, the next letter of the alphabet is the one that is coming in the next sentence. Really, really nice thing to do. And Will is out there doing a press tour right now for Lego Batman, and it's just a fantastic way to showcase a talent like that when you have that at your disposal. And the last thing I want to mention is, and I'll put this in winning, by the way. Winning is the fact that when you die now, your ashes can be pressed into a vinyl record. That is very true. So there's a UK-based company called And Vinyl, and basically, which is nice, and they've added a new option to your end-of-life list. You can be cremated, and your ashes can be pressed into a vinyl record. It's not cheap. It costs about $4,000, and it gives you 30 copies of the record, which is kind of cool, and each of which contains some of the ashes. The music or the sound on the record can be completely your choice. So it could be audio recordings of the dear departed. It could be that hit single that never was, from, me. It could be a lot of things. I'm just saying. So I got to put that in the winning category. That is a great example of the innovation of humanity on display, if you've ever seen it. The fact that we can now be cremated and our ashes can become a vinyl record. And that's who's winning and losing this week, kids, on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio. Come on back in segment 3. I'm going to give you some tips for mastering all of your social channels. Come on back.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, it's still Friday, and you are still tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott. It is segment 3. We just did segment 2, who's winning and losing. Paul, what did you like this week? What did you observe?
Well, in case your listeners aren't aware of this, Scott is actually very good at impressions. I was wondering if it would be possible for you to read that quote by the CEO of the pasta company, but like in the Super Mario accent.
Oh, okay, I can do it. I'm up for the challenge.
All right.
So this man's name is Guido Baria, whose company does own almost half the Italian pasta market. And here it is. I would never do an advertisement with a homosexual family. If the guys don't like it, they can go eat another brand.
There you go. Now the offender has become the offendee.
That's right. And the sound you heard in the background was like the PR person having a heart attack. It's like, oh, what happened to you, Scott? Why are you on the floor clutching your chest? What the hell?
I guess the only way to fight sexual prejudice is with racial stereotypes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good episode. It was a good round of who's winning and losing, and a lot of fun. There's that segment just writes itself every week.
Yeah, it's great.
I gotta say. Well, good. So we're in segment 3. Before we get into segment 3, I wanted to one of my favorite marketing gurus, Seth Godin, had a fantastic post this week that I think is sort of apropos to what we're talking about when it comes to the media. And it's really long and I won't hit the whole thing, but the name of the post is "What's the Next Step for Media and for Us?" So he starts out talking about perhaps the biggest cultural change of my lifetime has been the growing influence and ubiquity of commercial media in our lives. Then he goes on and basically says, the commercial media sow dissatisfaction. Advertising increases our feeling of missing out, and purchasing offers a momentary respite from that dissatisfaction. Wow, that's hard. Basically, it says the media amplifies anxiety and then offers programming that offers relief from anxiety. It's been shown repeatedly that watching TV increases the perception that other places, particularly cities, are far more dangerous than they are. So the idea is that the media has sort of trained us to expect quick, neat resolutions to problems because those are easier to communicate, to sell, that kind of thing. But, it's a really, really interesting post because it's like he basically is saying you have a choice to behave the way the media expects you to behave or not to. And he's sending that message out wide. And I think that's really interesting, the fact that we never think of the media as sort of selling dissatisfaction to us and us buying it. And that's true when you think about it. I mean, and the fact is what he's saying is we have a choice not to buy it. We have a choice to be satisfied, to be grateful, to be all of those things. And it is really just a choice. And I think that, and the reason you're probably like, hey, that's a wonderful story, Scott. It is not in any way related to your topic. Well, here you go. Here's what I'll say is social media did not happen by accident. Social media came about because it is a retreat. It is, there's a book called Groundswell that traces the origins of social media. And this was in social media's infancy when Groundswell came out. And it's about erosion of trust. The major pillars of society where people would put their trust, business, government, organized religion, all of these things that we're supposed to be able to trust, the trust is sort of eroded away, right? And we do not trust those things.
And I don't say that as a matter of opinion. I say that as a matter of Pew Research statistics show that trust in all of those institutions is at an all-time low. So the hypothesis of the book is that social media was created by human beings as a retreat and a last refuge of trust. Because if the only person that you can trust is those people that you quote unquote know and those closest to you, and really honestly just yourself, then the best place to engage with those people is in a channel where you can block everything else out. Right? The book is fascinating, by the way, and I just did like a very super, high level, bombing run over the top of what that book covers. But I highly recommend that you check out Groundswell. It's really fascinating, particularly if you want to understand origins of social media. If you understand not just what, but why social media happened. And, that will help you, understanding why it happened will help you get to some of those, you'll have a better understanding of what I talked about in the top part of segment 1, which is the fact that this is, social media is a refuge. It is an individual, unique refuge for people to hide from the rest of the stuff that makes them anxious. And as Seth Godin would point out, the traditional media are part of the amplifier that wants to amplify that anxiety. Anyway, fascinating stuff. But let's get back to you. Enough about that. Let's get back to you, because you are the most important thing here. Tips for mastering your social challenge. Your social channels and challenge. There you go. It could go both ways, to be honest. Tip number 1, realize that you're going to have to earn attention with your great content. And that content has got to be great in your audience's eyes, not in yours. Not in yours, not in your eyes, not in your CEO's eyes, not in anything else. It's got to be great in their eyes. And marketers will say to me, well, how do we know what that is going to be? Well, yeah, and it's going to be different for different people. But you have to at least try. You have to make that your objective going in. You understand that you, at least by going in with the realization and the empathy that you're earning your way as a brand into somebody's feed, then you won't have an idea that you're supposed to be there. You won't have an idea that you're allowed to, somehow buy your way in with some kind of sponsored post or advertising, and that sort of gives you the right to be there. You don't have that right. You don't. Nobody, by liking your page, gives you the right to, as I say a lot of times when I'm counseling people about social media, it is the equivalent of going over to somebody's house for like a Super Bowl party. We didn't even talk about the Super Bowl, but lots to talk about there. But anyway, you're going over for a Super Bowl party, and everybody's talking. Oh, hey, how's it going? How are the kids? What's going on? And then you stand up, block the game feed that everybody's watching. You block the TV and go, hey, I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about my business. Who's ready to buy some stuff? You can imagine what the reaction would be, to you doing that in that party. That is the exact reaction that you get when you drop something into somebody's feed that they don't want, that they didn't ask for and they don't want. And worse yet, if you do it in front of all of their friends in some way, you're compounding your mistake over and over and over and over again. Realize that you are going to have to earn it, that you are not welcome there. You were not invited there. You don't have the right to be there. Now show me why you should be there. Show me what you can do that is going to be great. Will Arnett didn't have the right to come into my feed, today and promote the Lego movie. And I love the Lego movie, or the Lego Batman movie. I think it's going to be a great movie or whatever. But he doesn't have the right to come in and go, hey, buy your tickets now, and kind of things. So what do? He does this really funny prank call stunt, and he ends up in my feed, through Entertainment Weekly, intermediary, a feed that I happen to follow. And from that, it strengthens my resolve and my feelings about going to see the Lego Batman movie, because I'm like, oh yeah, that Will Arnett, that's awesome. That's going to be an awesome piece of entertainment. I got to say that. That's the way you do it. The content's great. You put the content out in the right way, and then you get the benefits that you're going for. Tip number 2, make sure that you listen with your social channels at least as much as you talk. I go into so many meetings about social media, and and it's all about what can we push? What can we push, baby? Sometimes it's a good conversation about what kind of content do we have to push? What posts do we have? That kind of thing. Remember that, your social feeds can do other things for you rather than just be this promotional arm of what you're doing. You can learn a lot of great stuff from your social channels. And I highly recommend that if you're in charge of marketing and communications for an organization, that you really know how to listen to your social channels. Know how to listen. They will tell you when you're doing stuff right, when you're doing stuff wrong, and they'll tell you when you're doing stuff that doesn't matter. And then you can figure out how to make it matter more, to them. It's all about them, right? The balance, if there was a balance of power pie diagram where it was like you, the company, the brand versus them, imagine the entire pie being filled up with them. It's a them pie, and you don't even show up on the pie diagram. It's all about them, 100%. So make sure that it's their world that they created, right? They own the keys. They control reality. They tell you what color the sky is. They tell you what the rules are. That it is their planet, and you are an alien there. So make sure you understand that. And the way what you do when you're an alien on an alien planet, you listen. Make sure you listen at least as much as you talk. Very, very, very important. Not enough companies, not enough brands do this. Number 3, we mentioned a lot of social channels, and we dug in. We hit a little bit of Snapchat too, and that kind of thing. You don't have to be on every one of those known to mankind for your brand. In fact, you really shouldn't be. And another mistake is you want to make sure you're doing different things. You don't want to have the exact same post be blasted out through a bunch of different feeds, because we talked to. That's why I was trying to share what works in those various feeds. None of that stuff was done exactly the same way. Instagram is very different than YouTube. Twitter is very different than LinkedIn. Facebook is very different than Pinterest, that kind of thing. You don't have to be on every one of them. And if you are resource constrained, you're a smaller business, be on the one where you think more of your customers are going to want to engage you. Obviously, if you're a business to consumer business, you should be on Facebook. It has the largest audience. It is the biggest. There's no doubt about it. You should probably also be on Twitter. And then you should make a decision as to whether you think Instagram makes sense for you. Does YouTube make sense for you? Is there another smaller, niche, social outlet that makes sense for you? It is very individual. But again, you don't have to be on every one of these, because I get that question sometimes. People say, well, we just don't have the resources to be on, 6 different social networks, and we, have dashboard applications that can post to all of them. And it's like, no, don't do that. Don't, I know it's quick and easy, but quick and easy is the way that you clean a toilet bowl. That's not the way that you run your communication strategy. Don't look for quick and don't look for easy, right? Unless you're cleaning the bathroom. In that case, quick, easy, I'm all for it. Good job there. But in your communication strategy, think things through. And then if you, it's always better to make things a little simpler and do a little less than to try to overextend into things and do things poorly. I believe that. So let's say you're a business to consumer business. Maybe you just do Facebook. Maybe you do that for a year, see where that's getting you. And then maybe you add in another social network. You don't have to conquer the entire social universe when, at one time. And again, I really wouldn't advise it. Tip number 4, social channels can be a great amplifier for things that you're already, especially if you're already penetrating things in the news. I mentioned the Will Arnett story and the Lego Batman story, amplified by social media. It goes out on Entertainment Weekly's website. Do I visit Entertainment Weekly's website? No, not really. Did I hear about the story on Facebook? Yes, I did. And does that work for Entertainment Weekly and for Will Arnett and that? Yes, it does. So be sure to amplify your news coverage. any great reviews, you're a music company and you put out a product and somebody got it and it changed their life, or they, had a great experience at a gig with this product and they give you a shout out to your Facebook page, man, amplify that thing to the rooftops as much as you can. I'm not necessarily saying sponsor post, by the way. I don't like those. But absolutely use it as an amplifier. Use your channel to amplify any news coverage about your company. That is appropriate. That is right. That is absolutely the way to do it. Make sure you tag things and hashtag things appropriately. Know what the search terms are. Work with your SEO folks. Know what your search terms are. Know what your space is. Know what people are searching for, and tag and hashtag your stuff appropriately. And if people said, "Oh, that's too much SEO" and that kind of thing, it's you're in a communications role. You better know how people find things on the internet, or you're just not going to be relevant. You're just not going to be relevant in how business is done here in this time frame. I'll give you an example. For one of my clients, BandLab got a great review this week. Ask Audio Magazine called it the DAW, the Digital Audio Workstation that could change everything. This reviewer really, went on a limb, loves the program. It allows you to, it's a free program that allows you to capture and create and collaborate your music. It's fantastic, program, fantastic company. It's free, free, by the way. And, this reviewer loved it a lot. So you want to amplify that as much as you can, not just, it goes out it was on Ask Audio. So not just there, but where else can you put that? It's going to be great. Use it as an amplifier. Number 5, no matter what, don't ever delete your posts and accounts. Don't ever, ever, ever delete your posts or accounts. People have screenshots of your posts and your accounts. You just look guilty. You look shameful. It is terrible. It is amateur night in public relations. Do not ever delete your posts. I don't care what you said. If you said the gays should never eat burrito pasta, then you said it. And then you have to deal with it. But acting like you didn't say it does not get you any closer to winning the public's favor. It is a disingenuous thing to do. Do not do that. It doesn't work out. Social media is important, and there are ways to be great and really step in it. You have all the power in the world at your fingertips, but you need to use that power responsibly in order to do great things. Marketing is on an absolute mission to pollute and destroy social media. They're going to do it with sponsored posts, salesy messages, all kinds of stuff. But your feeds can be exceptional if you listen to the audience and give them the things they want and need. Make it about them, and it will always come back to you in positive ways. That's it from me, marketing fans. This is Scott Robertson signing off from May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We'll see you next week.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?